Welcome back to TakeFive Sports. The hiatus is finished. Not that anyone actually asked us. But it is time. UFC just ended. I think it was 306, 307, whatever. It's time to glaze the soon-to-be GOAT. I'm still saying, I said it since time. People want to argue it. Alex Pereira defends successfully the light heavyweight championship against Khalil Roundtree in what was probably one of the most banger fights we have seen.
Are we saying fight of the year?
No, fight of the year has to be Holloway and Gaethje still.
What, with that ending?
Yeah, that has to be fight of the year. But aside from that, I think this was fight of the year. This was a 4-round bang out. They both stuck to their words. They said no one's shooting for a takedown. All right, they stood there and they traded.
They were fighting. They were fighting, man.
Shout out Khalil Roundtree. I think of like the last 3 opponents Pereira has had,
this is the hardest one.
He went the furthest. This is like probably one of the few times we have seen Alex Pereira get into those championship rounds in recent times. First 2 rounds, people wanted to argue it. Khalil won those first 2 rounds.
I think he did too.
And if you look at it, even in...
What about that, like, how do you feel about that wrist shot, you know, where you went, like, and you dropped... Was that an actual knockdown, or was that...
I think that was a knockdown. Like people are going to say it wasn't a knockdown. It was not. You have to give the man his, like, credit where it's due. He was, like... It was hard for Pereira to close that distance. You even heard his corner saying it, like, be careful with those high kicks. Because every time he was throwing those high kicks, Khalil was right there behind it. That's how he got the knockdown. He overshot the high kick a bit. Khalil ducked down, came in with that overhand. It wasn't an easy fight by any means, but I think where it really shifted, where you saw it, was in that 3rd round. I think it was towards the later half. Pereira caught him. I think it was with a kick to the body or a punch, something like that, where he finally like weared him down and they started walking him down and grabbed him in the clinch for those knees. If that round had about a minute left, I think it would have been over. But I think that was a big momentum shift. But honestly, you could really argue that 3rd round. I'd have to watch it again to see, but I think if I remember correctly, Khalil was actually doing really good in the first half of it. The second half is where Alex Pereira took over. So that 3rd round was a swing. So going into the 4th, Alex needed that knockout essentially to win that card. But the first 2 he did amazing. I think where he really went wrong was he was not checking those leg kicks. I think being in southpaw, I think a lot of people were saying that it was gonna be hard for Pereira to land those like calf kicks that he's normally used to. But he was throwing it off the front leg. He was still disguising it, and he was landing it. Khalil was putting on that pressure. I think it was just came down to the gas tank at the end.
I think so too. I think it proved in the end that Pereira is a champion, because when you get to those rounds, can you execute in the final rounds? Can you last? Can you outmaneuver? And I think he showed that. He showed he has all the range of being probably pound for pound the best in the UFC.
I don't know how this is a disservice at this point. What more does the man need to do to be pound for pound right now? Why is it still Islam Makhachev? I don't understand. Like, even if you go by resume, the man's a 2-division champ at this point. What are we waiting for him to do? Like, what does he need to do? Gotta be Islam himself. Does he need to drop down the lightweight and fight Islam? Like, I'm tired of this nonsense. Like, because he hasn't versed a wrestler. There just hasn't been anyone to verse, and everyone wants to stand and bang with him. He's gonna stick to that. So, honestly, I think this man is the pound for pound. At this point, bro, like, he is the face of UFC at this point.
He's making GOAT status. Like, he's entering GOAT not GOAT himself, but GOAT conversation status.
He is 100% in the top 10 in, like, conversations.
Higher than Khabib?
Yes, bro. Career-wise, yes. He's a 2-division champ. The man has already, I think, defended more than, or at least tied in terms of defenses that Khabib had, or something like that. Or... like, he's done enough to be there. There's nothing more really at this point that he needs to prove.
Higher than GSP?
I don't know about that. We're not there yet. But
would you say top 5?
But like, if he gets to like these, like, he's definitely in the top 10 guaranteed. I don't know about cracking the top 5 yet. But if he gets that heavyweight belt, if he eventually moves up to heavyweight and gets that belt, then it's like you have to, bro. He has to be in top 5 contention. To be a 3-division champ in the UFC is like literally never been done
unheard of.
Yeah. But in terms of in terms of that fight, like, Khalil was closing the distance. He did a really good job of that in the first rounds, like that pressure. He was just out of range. I think his shots were like they were tagging her, but he just need to step in a little bit further because he was staying a lot to the center. I think you can hear Joe Rogan then mention it too, that he needed to back up Pereira a bit more to the cage for those strikes to land, because the thing was Pereira was just kind of going straight line back, and then he would like weighing off of it. But eventually Pereira found that range, and like those leg kicks just added up. And my God, bro, that 4th round was a striking masterclass.
Entered flow state.
Literally felt like I'm watching Goku, like, just evading shots. That was insane, bro.
No, it was beautiful.
You saw his hands down.
Work.
No hands up defense. I was scared because I'm like, yo, if he throws an overhand round, that's why he got caught with Izzy.
Yeah.
That random over. I was like, if that happens again, this is gonna be a shame.
Yeah.
But when he entered that flow state, oh my god, bro, he's just bobbing, weaving, throwing shots, literally doing whatever he wanted. At one point, this man paused on the knee to decide what he wanted to do. It was insane. When Alex Pereira hits that flow state, that man is the scariest person on the planet. Like that.
He's the best fighter in the UFC. He's hands down right now.
Striking, he is the best striker in the UFC right now.
Unless John Jones somehow becomes more active, he is the best fighter in the UFC.
This man is the face of the UFC right now. And honestly, like, even the last card, like, at when they did it at the Sphere, like, those earlier cards on those prelims during that Sphere fight was better than our main events.
Yeah.
And I understand grappling is a part of, like, the game. Right? Yeah. I respect BJJ, love it, I'll watch it separately. It's amazing, and when it's done like in a competitive atmosphere, it is very entertaining to watch. But you cannot lie nowadays when it comes to these wrestling sometimes. And bro, even I think it was in the Aldo fight where he just got held up against the cage for like so long. Yeah. It's like when no one's doing anything with these wrestling, or when it's at least not submissions,
a lot of people
it's not
as
entertaining. Like, look at Oliveira. He's a submission specialist. His fights have been hands down some of the most entertaining over years. One of my favorite fighters. But when you get to like these just straight wrestling bouts where they're just holding each other on the ground,
it gets a little bit boring, you know.
It's just genuinely from a fan perspective, it's not as entertaining.
Because if you're a casual watching that, you're like, what am I watching? Yeah. But if you're into BJJ and you're grappling, okay, you're like, okay, I can appreciate this a little bit more. But again, to the casual audience, is the like, bro, like I don't want to see this, you know. I want to see them stand and bang, you know.
And like obviously there's a place for it, but when you mix it up, like even in that Sean O'Malley fight, this guy Sean O'Malley did not throw. It was a boring fight. Like, let's be real. Like I don't know what happened to him that fight.
He forgot.
So right now, like you're looking at like the championship contenders. It was getting to a dark era, bro. Like listen, I'm a big fan of Drakus as well, but like he's also an anomaly. Like if you look at him skill wise, you went like 5 rounds with Izzy out of nowhere. Like Izzy's bodying him 5 rounds. This guy just closes his eyes, throws a windmill punches. And then, if you ever watch like the show Blue Mountain State, there's literally a scene where like Chuck Liddell is showing the man the windmill maneuver as a joke. That is what Drakus fights as. And I respect he's entertaining, but it's like that's where we were getting to in these championships. Like Bilal Muhammad. Again, a lot of people were just all like these fighters, but where were we?
Exactly.
Like, you know,
a lot of people are just like, I don't really care about these champions, you know, right now because there's no big names. But you got Alex Pereira. He's actually making a name for himself. He's entertaining. He's dominant. That's what people want to see, a dominant champion. Like if you're winning one fight and you're losing the next and you're winning again, a lot of people are going to start getting turned off from you. But if you're constantly winning and constantly showing why you're great and why you're a good champion, and again coming down to a fight like this where it went down into the thick of it, man's gushing blood. He got that roundhouse kick to the head, bro. I thought we were about to see an upset because that's how the UFC's been going nowadays. Upset over upset. But no, he powered through, and that's what makes him the best in the planet. That's what makes him probably the most entertaining fight, and that's why we need to see John Jones versus Pereira, fam.
But the thing is, like, here's the thing with John Jones versus Pereira, I would love to see that fight. I don't think we're gonna get that now.
We're never gonna get it
because Pereira was literally training with John Jones, and he doesn't seem like he has intention of moving to heavyweight right now, and I don't think he's moving back down because he said he likes where he is at light heavyweight. And Strickland, he says Strickland's up for a belt, and now that they're kind of like training partners, he doesn't want to interfere with that. In terms of heavyweight, I don't think we're ever going to see him versus John Jones.
I don't think we're ever seeing
I don't think that's a good matchup for him because I think John Jones, unless John Jones decides to stand there and strike with him.
Because John Jones can strike, he can grapple. He could grapple,
Like if John Jones goes for a takedown, I think GG's, because he's the best at it. Like, granted, for right now, like, the people he's run into, he's been able to get away with it. I think there are people that might be, like, a tough matchup. Yeah. But obviously he has, like, certain people in his corner that's been helping, like, Glover and stuff like that. Because I do think Glover and stuff would have been a bad matchup for him just because of, like, their wrestling and their BJJ is a lot better. And even if you look at, like, the thing is, everyone he's fought so far wants to, I think that there's some ego thing going around where they want to stand and bang with them.
They can beat him with stand-up,
like, you're not going to do it at this point. You need to accept it. That if you're gonna try to beat him, it has to be on the. I know I just said it gets boring, but that's the only way you're doing this. The closest he's been to losing has been when he versed Jan, and that's because Jan took him to that grappling. And granted, he did very good at stuffing takedowns and like preventing that, but that was the closest he got to losing, and that was a close fight. And some might even argue he lost that one, but that's because he wasn't trying to stand there and bang with him when you know what he's doing to
and John Jones, he has literally no weaknesses in his game. He can stand up and strike with you. He can go to the ground with you.
I think even Tom Aspinall was like, bro, if I fight him the first second, I'm tossing for a takedown. Like, I'm not striking with him because you really can't. I think next up, realistically, in terms of light heavyweight, I believe it's Ankalaev. And the thing is, that's gonna be a good fight. I do think it's the same thing again, though. If you're gonna try to stand and bang with him,
you gotta grapple. You gotta grapple.
But from what I see, it's like I don't think Ankalaev is primarily a striker again.
Yeah.
Right? Like he does have, I think, the most takedowns. I think it was when Ankalaev versus Jan, but he wasn't that successful. It looked like. Again, Jan's obviously the better wrestler, but it was like I think he got like one takedown, only shot like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So if it's not that strong, like I think Pereira will do fine with like stopping that, like stopping those takedowns. But I think that'll definitely be an added point to the game that you have to like incorporate if you're at least gonna try to stop that pressure. Because again, bro, when that flow state hits, oh my lord, bro, that was poetry.
That was fire. It was beauty. Watching that type of striking, it's peak,
poetic.
Bro. It's peak.
It's literally poetic. Like it looks like a dance, bro. Like it was like, oh my god, like he's slipping he's barely slipping it. Bam, straight nice. Counter. Oh my god, it was like the fight of the night. That was like the rest of the card. I don't even remember seeing it.
Oh, but it was great. No.
Yeah.
Well, overall, yeah.
He deserves a break, though. I don't think we're going to see him till, like, next year, and rightfully so.
Right, no, we have to. Otherwise, the guy's literally going to get CT.
This man has saved, like, what? 3 pay-per-views at this point.
He needs to take a well-rested break. Hopefully they build up, like, whoever the next fight is. Like, I really wanted them to, like, carefully choose his opponent and give him a good kind of money fight instead of a guy we know he's gonna beat. But this could have been an upset.
Well, because this was a last-minute step in. I think the thing was, like, this card was, like, respectfully, this card was kind of dead in terms of pay-per-view card.
That's right.
And they had no main event. And so, again, him and Khalil, shout out Khalil. This guy, like, stepped up against the baddest on the planet, took him the distance.
He almost won, too, bro.
You see, like, Jamal Hill at the end of the fight, like, yawning like it was boring. And then, like, Pereira's response on Pereira's
cold as shit.
I think this guy just woke up from 300. Like, rightfully so. Like, what are you yawning at? Like, you were not in the ring with him.
I hate some of these fighters, they cheese me because they're just like,
stop
bro,
it, man.
How are you going to be talking that ish when this guy buoyed you? Like,
like he literally hit him with the Kobe lame at the end, bro. Like I like Jamal Hill, but like, bro, you can't be doing these emotions like you messed him up, or it was like a controversial loss. Like, no, bro, he slept him.
He's not him, man.
Like, let's stop playing these games. This man should, if he's not pound for pound #1 by the end of this week, this list is just fraudulent.
They're not updating the website clearly. The guy on the website is not watching their own fights, bro.
Like, I don't get what we're glazing at. Like, this man has done everything he possibly can do this year to be there. Literally the face of the franchise in UFC right now.
What more can you do?
Literally, there's not much more you can do.
All right. Well, yeah, that's all we got for this past week UFC's event. It was crazy. It was possibly fight of the year.
Yeah, but the next couple of cards are gonna be crazy. We got Ilya Taporia versus Max Holloway. That is gonna be.
It's gonna be money.
Oh, that one's gonna be fire. We have
John Jones coming in November.
John Jones coming back.
That card is gonna be super stacked.
Oliveira Chandler too.
That's super stacked.
On that card as well. That is a banger fight. Shout out Dude Bronx. Please, I need one more run. Someone gotta take this, man. Someone gotta take the lightweight title out of the hands of this man.
No, we got some money cards coming up. We'll definitely be discussing it. Probably give predictions maybe as the John Jones card comes up. That's gonna be everyone's eyes are gonna be on that. So,
and we'll see y'all in the next video.
Peace.